Hello Tech fans, we are getting closer and closer to first pitch in 2018. That means it's time for our fourth segment in the Around the Diamond series with Coach Danny Hall. I'm Wiley Ballard, and today we're talking about the Yellow Jackets starting rotation. And Coach, I want to start with this. Last year in 30 regular season ACC games, you sent a freshman to the hill in 20 of them, which means you've got a lot coming back. You may have taken your lumps there early, but on the whole, 85% of your starts return. And so with that in mind, how do you see this year's rotation shaping up?
Well, again, Wiley, much like some of our other position battles, I think there's going to be a good battle just to see who gets in our starting rotation. I think the good news is all those guys are a year older, and some of the guys that maybe took some lumps last year, I think it's our turn to maybe put some other teams and people on the other side of those lumps. So I feel like we have a lot of guys capable. I mean, if you look at the front of the rotation, Savion Curry, we put him in a position last year that's not fair for any freshman, but he started every Friday game for us and finished the year, I think, probably throwing the best game he threw all year against Wake Forest in the ACC tournament. Unfortunately, we lost that game late, but Savion is a great athlete. Just, threw in the inter-squad game last weekend up to 95, has a better breaking ball, more command. So again, I think that if we started today, he would probably be our guy at the front of the rotation. But behind him, I'll mention this guy, Tristan English. We're hopeful that we can keep kind of bringing him along slowly. He's a little more than 12 months past Tommy John surgery. He threw an inning last weekend in our inter-squad game, and I think he looked good, up to 93. But again, anytime somebody's coming off Tommy John, you just got to kind of take that day to day, week to week, because there can be little hiccups in how he's feeling. Beyond him, a guy like Jonathan Hughes, who as a freshman was in our rotation, had the injury, ended up having surgery, and then last year just never really got back to where he was comfortable, where he was confident. But he, in my opinion, is really, really close to being back at 100%. He's throwing the ball not only well in the fall, he's throwing the ball well right now. So those would kind of be three upperclassmen. I would probably add Jake Lee to that, just because Jake has pitched some in that starting rotation before. But I kind of see him as a guy, could be a spot starter, he could be a Tuesday starter, but he also could be a critical guy to maybe pitch Friday and Sunday on our weekends, kind of in the back part of our bullpen. But Jake had a really good fall. He's worked extremely hard. So I think he'll be knocking on that door as well. Then we're going to run three freshmen. Hugh Chapman, right-hander from Holy Innocents. Big, strong right-hander, up over 90, good curveball, good changeup, really competitive, very smart. Brant Herter, big 6'6" lefty. Didn't get to throw any in the fall. He had an injury in the fall, but he's starting to work his way back in there. Maybe a little behind at the beginning of the season, but I can see him being a dominant lefty as a freshman. Then the other freshman is Will Shira, who came in here in January. Again, really smart kid. Was going to be valedictorian of his high school. But again, he's a lefty that's over 90 with a good curveball. And then last but not least, I guess I consider him a freshman, but he's really a sophomore, Connor Thomas, who got in late in the year with us last year, but Connor had a good fall, competitive kid, and again, going to be a guy that we'll consider not only for a weekend spot, but he could end up being a midweek guy as well.
Now, when it comes to sitting that rotation, you got a nice balance of righties and lefties. Would there be a time where you'd sit there and say we want to go righty, lefty, righty, or lefty, righty, lefty?
Oh, definitely. I think the beauty of it is we have more options, and we can kind of mix and match if we feel like we need to. I mean, I kind of laughed. I looked ahead a couple weeks ago at Minnesota, and the bad news is they had about 6 or 7 guys that hit over 300 last year. They're all back. And I think that like 6 of the 7 are left-hand hitters. So you look at that and you're kind of licking your chops like, well, should we just throw a left-hander on Friday on opening day? But I won't do that. I mean, like I said, it'll probably be Savion Curry. But to have the luxury of some more left-hand options really, I think, bodes well for improving our pitching staff.
Savion Curry, the sophomore from Atlanta, was the first freshman for Georgia Tech to start on opening day since 1995, and as of right now, looks like he'll be getting the nod on February 16th against Minnesota, a 4 o'clock start at Rush Chandler Stadium. In our next segment of Around the Diamond, we'll talk about the back end of the pitching staff, the bullpen, and what Tech fans can expect to see in those later innings. Coach, thanks for your time.